Small business owner check. This is my name. This is the name of my company. This is what my company does. This is why I love what I do. This is an accomplishment I'm proud of. This is where you can find me online. And if you're a small business owner, introduce yourself in the comments and let's support.
So we want to welcome everyone to another episode of A Seat at the Dinner Table. I am Taman.
And I'm Kim.
And tonight we are having a lovely
homemade salad.
Homemade salad. I couldn't get my words out.
It's pickled onions, the little spring mix, chicken, eggs, other veggies. Forget what I put in here.
Her baby got down when we're talking about the salad. She gets down with pretty much everything. So shout out to my lady, my baby, my everything.
Oh, that's nice.
So we still want to thank the lovely sponsors of Simply Shondell. If you're looking for handmade polymer clay earrings that are beautifully stylish as well as lightweight, you can go to www.simplyshondell.com for all your earring needs.
It's been a day.
It has been a day.
You ever feel like let's just take a deep breath? It's been a day. It seems like whenever we have a show, any and everything comes up, playing it out, and we still end up running around like a chicken with a head's cut off.
Yeah.
Funny story. I've actually seen that happen in person, but it wasn't chicken. The head wasn't cut off, but the neck was broken. It's pretty crazy to see. My brother did it. Shout out to Brian.
Shout out to Brian. So tonight we wanted to honor some of our Black history superstars, put them on spotlight. I know there is a plethora of different people that go on the list as far as Black history greats. However, we did pick a few out that we wanted to highlight and spotlight since this is February and it's Black History Month. So
I actually told Taman, I feel like during Black History Month, the same people are often talked about and spotlighted. And there are so many more amazing Black people that did some historical stuff that a lot of people don't even think. You don't know about it. You don't know about it unless you're just randomly doing some research. Right. So that's kind of like what prompted what we're doing today. Just kind of talking about some people that I know for me, a lot of people probably never have heard of them. So there's that.
Shout out to our good brother Frank, Elder Frank. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna call him an elder, but he's my elder. So thank you for joining on. Said preach. So we're definitely going to try to preach tonight. So without further ado, ladies first.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, I got my phone because
I do too. So don't get twisted. I got my notes right here.
So the first one that I'm gonna do, some may or may not have heard of her, but her name is Wilma Rudolph. I remember Wilma Rudolph. My mom had a VHS called Wilma, and when we didn't have cable, I would sit and watch VHSs. I never really wanted to watch this one because the cover looked real bootleg and whatnot. And then when you pop the movie in, it was blurry, but it's now like one of my favorite movies, and I think I want Siani to watch. I want the kids to watch it, and you, because I don't think you've ever seen it. But Wilma, she's an American track and field athlete. So that right there, this was actually before I even got into track. That's funny. But Wilma Rudolph, I'm gonna read this from here. So Wilma Rudolph, she was decorated as far as like in track and field. She was winning medals and things like that. Her story was significant because when she was about 4, I think it says she was about 4, she was diagnosed with polio, which polio, it can paralyze you. It's a disease that a lot of kids would get, and it can paralyze you. So she was diagnosed with polio and also had some other health issues. She couldn't walk. they didn't think that she would ever be able to walk.
That's crazy.
So when she was a child, you know, they couldn't really afford all of the medical care. So her mother and her siblings and things all took turns with working with her leg. I think they said that her left side was weak. They took turns working with her legs daily, like multiple times a day, exercising her legs, stretching it out, trying to help her get strength in her leg. And then at one point she was walking with a brace on her leg, but still she wasn't stable in it.
Right.
So as she got older, she was getting stronger and stronger. She ended up joining the track team and was running.
Wow.
For high school. She went to, I think it said Tennessee State University, which I didn't know which was the HBCU.
Shout out to Tennessee State University.
She went to the HBCU and was dominating there. I guess I should tell the year. So while she was there, it was in 1963 when she was at Tennessee State.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find like her accolades and everything. And I guess this is where I should have been more prepared. I'm sorry.
You're fine, baby.
So it says here, she did track and field. She was in the Summer Olympics in 1956, and she was in the Summer Olympics in 1960 as well.
Representing for her country?
Yeah. It shows here that she had 3 gold medals and 1 bronze. She got bronze in 1956 in the 4x1 relay. She got gold in 1960 when it was in Rome in the 4x1 relay. And for those of you who don't know, that's a sprint. That's a sprint race where 4 people are running a race at the same time. You run 100 meters, hand off the baton to someone else. She won gold in the 200 meters flat, which is half the distance around the track, and she won gold in the 100 meter flat, which is a sprint. So she was killing it.
It's amazing.
And to know that she was diagnosed with polio
at 4.
At 4, told that she was never going to be able to walk, and now she out here winning gold medals. And
right.
So
What's going on, Mr. Jonathan? How are you doing today?
That was one of my weirdly favorite movies growing up, because you would not think that a kid would be watching it. But when you're forced into some things, you learn some things.
I mean, her story is, you can continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah. She had a lot of other accolades with track and field, but like that was the most significant. Like in the 60s, she's winning gold medals in the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, to go from having polio to winning a gold,
right?
Like that to me is like the determination, the will, the strength, and I'm pretty sure that they had a praying family, especially with them growing up in that time and whatnot, and for her to have a support system as far as you said her parents, her mother.
Her parents, her siblings. Her
siblings helped her out as far as like massaging her legs and whatnot. That support system is huge.
Yeah.
And
it says she also played basketball as well, and she was trying to follow in the footsteps of her older sister, who played sports. So that's another thing too. A lot of people, when they have the example right in front of them, they tend to strive towards that as well. Yeah. So that was pretty dope.
That's super dope, man. Super dope. I mean, this all around, like, her story started off
kind of sort of tragic.
Yeah. And
like,
then
you think of a 4-year-old, a baby, pretty much, and like you get a diagnosis that your baby's not going to be able to walk.
Right.
And be paralyzed.
That's sheesh.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that.
But I know that she made all of her family proud. Of course, she probably made herself proud, of course, because, I mean, knowing her story and just wanted to be like her big sister and to end up winning gold medals in the Olympics, like that is super amazing. So shout out to Wilma Rudolph and the Rudolph family.
And like if you're a person who is really competitive into sports, those are the platforms that you like dream of reaching.
Yeah.
Like basketball is NBA, WNBA, track and field honestly is like the Olympics, as well as like gymnastics and stuff. Those are the highest fields that you be wanting to get to. I forgot I had food here. No, I was talking.
Well, I was going to say you
put me on the spot first.
I did. I said ladies first.
Yeah, well, you usually give me ladies first.
Don't do that.
I'm sorry.
So
now you up. Now you wild out.
So, when I was looking through, trying to pick some names and whatnot. I attended Morgan State University.
Shout out to Morgan. That's
Shout
what
out to
mine
Morgan.
says.
Met some great people there. And I definitely love when I hear about people doing special things that are from a college that I say a college, the college that I went to.
Mm-hmm.
So my person is Valerie Thomas. Valerie Thomas was a scientist and an inventor, and she was the one that pretty much invented 3D movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So she was born February 8th. She graduated from Morgan in 1964, and she was one of only 2 women who studied physics at
3D
Morgan.
or 2D?
3D.
I was thinking because you said she graduated in the 60s.
Mm-hmm. But she worked for NASA,
Mm-hmm.
and she developed the illusion transmitter and received the patent in 1980.
Oh, okay.
So, and what the illusion transmitter is it creates optical illusion images using 2 concave mirrors, which produces an image that appears real or 3D. And it's been used by NASA, it's been used by doctors, and it's also used in television screens as well. And she received the Goddard Space Flight Center Award of Merit, the NASA Equal Opportunity Medal as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when you think about back when we were younger, 3D movies was like, well,
You could see the 3D.
but just seeing the 3D in general, but not only that, just like now where it's gone to where you have holograms and whatnot. Like the evolution of it is remarkable, and just to hear that a Black woman, Miss Thomas from the good Morgan State University, was one of the ones that invented that, and she paved the way for a lot of people. Looking at her story and whatnot, she was a mentor for a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people of color coming into NASA as well. And you don't hear about. Well, I know me personally, I don't hear about the color barriers that are broken when we're talking about space and science and things like that. So this was definitely interesting when I found her.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, shout out to Miss Valerie Thomas. If you don't know, now you know.
That's funny. These kids will never know that red and blue, the red and blue glasses that created the 3D
Yeah,
images.
man, listen.
And my weird self, I used to try to look at like the pictures that the glasses would come with, try to see if I could figure it out just the naked eye. I don't know. I did stuff like that.
Didn't work.
Definitely not. All right. So next person I found was Jane Bolin. I know you probably never heard of her.
No, I've never heard put me on game to Miss Jane.
So Jane Bolin, she was born, I guess we didn't even talk about the age part, but born back in 1908, and she died in 2007. Wow. She was the first Black judge in New York City, in New York, I think it said.
Wow.
She became the nation's first Black woman judge in 1939. She was the first Black woman to graduate from Yale Law School and would serve on New York's family court for 4 decades. Says besides dealing with domestic cases, she worked to stop probation officers from getting assignments based on the color of their skin. During her career, she also worked with Eleanor Roosevelt to create a program that would intervene to stop young boys committing crimes.
Wow.
So when I was further looking her up, it goes back to what I said about Wilma Rudolph having like that example of her big sister doing sports that she wanted to follow in, because James Bolin, her dad was, I think it said her dad was a judge as well. But let me pull that back up. And I think I screenshotted it. But I was like, okay, so she had that, like the image of her dad in the forefront of her mind, like seeing him go through the process and everything. And then for her to be the nation's first Black woman to be a judge, that was dope to me. But it says here, She grew up, her mother died when she was 8. So her dad raised her. She was the youngest of 4 children. So he was the first Black graduate of Williams College. And then he was the first Black president of the Dutchess County Bar Association. And
Sheesh.
so from what I know, being on anybody's bar association is a big deal in itself.
Definitely.
Because you got to really just know your stuff for one, to even pass the bar, then to be on there on the association for it.
Right.
I don't know enough about the law industry, but I've heard a lot.
I know that I've heard a lot of stories as far as passing the bar.
Right. It says here that she was one of only 2 Black freshmen in her year, and she felt the social rejection from her white peers when she was in high school. So she graduated college.
This was before honors. Civil rights. This was before the 1960s.
Yeah. Yep. So she entered Yale Law School as the only Black student and one of only 3 women. I'm guessing by the time she graduated.
Wait. She was the first Black student.
It says she entered law school as the only Black student.
Okay.
And one of only 3. Oh, wait, the only Black student and only one of 3 women. Women. And this was, again, like I said, back in the late 20s, early 30s.
Wow.
Because she got her law degree in 1931. Yeah, man, that's crazy. And then she passed the bar in 1932.
Just imagine the courage that she had to be the forerunner for not only Black women, but just Black people in general.
Right.
To go through that, what people would say the prestigious Ivy League school, and to be up there in that echelon, like, kudos. Give her all types of props, all of those, because that to me is amazing. I can just imagine like what her fortitude or her attitude was, as far as just going, like, to have no fear whatsoever, just going like, I'm breaking barriers. That is what it is.
And you know what's crazy? She probably had all the fear in the world, but it's like, but this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
That determination there, because I know we talk a lot about people being brave and doing and going through, but when you think about it, they're just doing what they feel like is right.
Yeah.
A lot of times, a lot of people that are, like you said, breaking these barriers, they don't look at it as, this is what I'm setting out to do. I'm setting out to be a martyr for this. I'm setting out to set this example, or to break this down. It's like, listen, I just want to do this. I just want to be in law school. This is the school that I want to go to.
Definitely.
And it's like, once they've completed it, and you're like, oh, snap. I'm the first Black one that did this. So, like, even when you graduate in your family, like, some people are like the first to graduate in their family. Their mindset is probably not, I'm trying to be, I want to do this. It's like, I want to accomplish this.
For myself. And then once you look back, it's like, wow, I was a trailblazer.
Right.
So, wow, shout out to her.
Yeah, when I saw that, it's funny because I immediately thought of Portia when I thought of that, when I read that. Just how Portia goes hard for law and everything.
Yeah,
I just immediately thought of her.
Definitely. We need more Portias in the judicial system. So, shout out to Miss Rushling. So I'm over here sweating. Boy, this light says
it's all right, baby.
So we have a question. What type of mindset does it take to have that type of focus?
I do believe you have to have a strong mindset. You have to have thick skin to have that type of focus, because knowing that you're going to hit all types of adversities and things plaguing you, because in her instance, being a Black woman, the odds are already stacked against you.
Right.
So now she's going into this world where it's predominantly white men, not even like just predominantly white people, but predominantly white men. So I'm pretty sure she knew she was going to get heat from any and every way. So she had to have a strong, determined mind focus and laser focus to know what her end goal was, and not let anybody knock her off or block with that.
And I mean, she also had an example with her father.
With her father, right.
So like, this wasn't anything necessarily new to her per se. I mean, of course, like in the criticism and whatnot, she's just trying to do what she's seen her father do.
Right.
And you have to have that laser focus. I mean, I'm a basketball guy, so I'll compare it to basketball.
Mhm.
So we all see how great a shooter Stephen Curry is, right?
Who?
Stephen,
Just kidding.
Steph Curry, Chef Curry, whatever you want to call him.
Siani's guy.
Right. We see how he's arguably the greatest shooter ever.
Mm-hmm.
However, him and his brother are really just doing what they seen their dad doing.
Yeah.
And Del Curry was no slouch when it came to the 3-point.
See, I ain't know much about him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just breaking it down into basketball terminology and just kind of understanding it like that. Like, they don't know necessarily how great they're going to be. They're just trying to follow the footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, it comes to where you're going to have trials and tribulations, as they say. But you're going to come up against obstacles. And it's like, okay, I've had an example that's probably came through some similar obstacles. So you got to have some support system
Mm-hmm.
as well. But that laser focus to be a trailblazer is something that is unmatched. Says, what do you think gave her and others a type of strong focus? Our community today has an endless amount of role models, yet there's a lack of focus. That's true. I don't know much about her,
Mm-hmm.
but I think a solid foundation as far as spirituality is concerned. I mean, because you first have to believe in yourself and then believe that the Most High is going to guide you and be there for you. And she had a support system that was behind her, and she already had someone who had been in that field. So I personally, I mean, I don't know her spiritual beliefs, but just me thinking the way that I think, like you first have to believe in yourself. I mean, because if that's not there, then nothing's going to happen.
So I'm thinking, can you show the question?
Yes,
again?
I can.
You know, my brain,
Yep.
it stops working after a few
Oh my
seconds.
gosh.
I feel like it's hard to say because I think a lot of it boils down to work ethic, though. Back then, and even us growing up, there was a certain work ethic that was needed to achieve anything.
Mhm.
And now, this generation now, everything is so microwave for them. They can, and everything is at the tip of their fingertips as far as like electronics. I can sit back, kick my feet up, send out a couple messages, hit 1,000 views and make like money just like that, or however many views, go viral and make money like that. And so I feel like a lot of this generation now, they have that mentality of, I'm gonna do as little work as possible, and it's gonna give me some type of big return in a weird way. I don't care if it's for 15 minutes of fame, of a viral video, or what. So I think the work ethic is lost.
Yeah.
I really think the work ethic is lost. Like, I was watching Nehemiah play today, and when he was playing catch with you, he wanted to, because he's my baby, so I wanted to let him stop. But he wanted to quit after like two or three catches, and I'm like,
Quit.
he was like, I'm tired, and you were like, you're not tired, and I'm sitting there like, how you know he's not tired? But thinking back, like, he was just trying to get out of it, and he just wanted to do what he wanted to do. So I feel like these kids aren't pushed anymore to really get stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is just so easy and cookie cutter for them.
So believing yourself is very much part of it, but you have to know your value, your significance, who you are based on who you come from. That is
so true. And that's what we're trying to instill in our kids now.
Definitely.
Because I can see them falling into that laziness, that well, my friend said this, so that's what I must be. Mm-hmm. Like, no, you're so much more than what someone else thinks you are. You got to know what you think you are and what your worth is and what you can do.
I can tell you just from personal experience that, well, they are you. Mm-hmm. Me speaking off of personal experience, it took a while for me to really realize who I am. Mm-hmm. Because of I would say the lack of focus. Like, things came easy to me when I was young, and then the older that I got, the more it was kind of like okay, this isn't as easy as I thought. And then like really reevaluating myself the older that I got and whatnot. And I mean to be completely transparent, I mean, I was in a depression.
Mhm.
However, it took the lovely support of my wife and my kids and my family and whatnot, and me really realizing that I'm not the sum of all my mistakes, and that I believe in myself as much as they believe in myself. And in turn, it's helped tremendously. And like, yeah, in hindsight, you know what I mean? I wish I had that mindset 10 years, 20 years ago. I think I'll probably be a quote unquote a little further along. But
Right.
at the same time, yeah, I mean, the most high works in mysterious ways, as we say. And I feel like the things that I went through personally has helped me to become the person that I am today.
Mhm.
And even in her case, um, pretty much she understood that she came from a great lineage and a great family, and she had a great example. Um, so she's just following in those footsteps. And I mean, looking back at my lineage, I come from a great family
Right.
of great people who have done some awesome things, from starting their own businesses to being into real estate to going into the military to doing so much great things. So, um, I mean, like it's just a matter of finding out who you are. But yeah, I'm gonna leave that. Oh, it's my turn.
It is. It's you.
See, you got me in here preaching.
I'm sorry. Somebody needs it.
So, um, during my search of myself, um, I read a book that was called "The Destruction of the Black Civilization" by Chancellor Williams. And Chancellor Williams is a person that I put on this list. He was a sociologist, a historian, and writer. Um, his most notable book is "The Destruction of Black Civilization," 1971. If you are a person of color and have not read that, I would recommend reading that, just to get some history context. He attended the great Howard University, so another HBCU. Shout out the Howard Bison. Um,
That's what their mascot is.
yeah, excuse me. He was a teacher in the Washington D.C. public school system.
Mhm.
He also received an award from the Black Academy of Arts and Letters for his most notable book. Other than the destruction of Black civilization, he wrote the other books: *The Raven*, a novel of Edgar Allan Poe in 1943, *And If I Were White* in 1946. *Have You Been to the River* in 1952. *Problems in African History* in 1964. *The Rebirth of African Civilization* in 1961. And *The Second Agreement with Hell* in 1979.
Those are books that he wrote.
Those are books that he wrote. Yeah.
Why do you think? What's wrong?
'Cause, I've never read these books. I would never think that the author of The Destruction of Black Civilization would have written these books, especially with the titles. Because I'm black and I'm proud. I don't think I would write a book about if I were white. But let me. And the Second Agreement of Hell. What's that about? What is going on here? I mean, why are you agreeing? Hey,
Hey,
but,
it might all be perspective as well.
definitely.
Can't judge a book by its title.
That's a
But
fact.
I think the statement is covered.
Yeah, but I
But
get
still.
what you're saying. This,
Got you thinking some
yeah,
things?
it really do. But I mean, for him to be a teacher in the Washington D.C. public school system, to me stood out more than the accolades, because he took his time, which we all know that teachers are underpaid.
Very much so.
Um, but he took his time out to be in the public school system and to have the brilliant mind that he had. He was able to give out that knowledge to the young scholars in the public school system. We're not talking private. We're not talking about collegiate. He's in the public school system and didn't specify which grades that he taught, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that he had an impact on a lot of people in that area. So shout out to Chancellor Williams. But these other books, I don't know if I want to read.
Read like the Cleveland notes on them.
Yeah, I might have to read that because
read the leaflet that's in them.
The what? Excuse me, say that again.
The leaflet, like you can get a paperback book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a hardback book. It's the little flat.
Okay. Okay, that's what that's called. Wow.
You're funny.
The leaflet.
I think that's what it's called. I'm like 95% sure that's what it's called.
So he says, don't let the titles fool you.
See?
Okay.
See? Give it
Listen, I trust your judgment. I trust your judgment. It's just
you're a reader. See, you're a reader. I need to get back into reading though, because all I read was hood rat books. So I need to get back into reading good stuff.
Hood rat books, really?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a guilty pleasure at one point. Right?
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Oh my goodness.
So all I read was hood rat books. Well, listen, I read, all I used to read was hip hop magazines.
Is that considered reading?
Yeah. What you mean?
Mostly pictures. I guess I had a couple articles, but
yeah, I would read the articles to find out about what these rappers that you know what I mean? And then now the King magazine was more so for the pictures. You remember the King magazine in like the early 2000s?
I do, but I don't.
Well, I would hope that you wouldn't, because it was like
for men only type magazine.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that racy. But it
wasn't like
was
Black Tail like Kanye.
Nah, it wasn't like Black Tail. It wasn't like Black Tail. But it was pretty much like the PG version of Black Tail. Like it would have like the video vixens and whatnot.
No, just kidding.
It's a teenage boy. What do you mean?
Kidding.
Jeez Louise.
You silly.
All right, so you are next.
So that was your second person?
Yes, that was my second person. So you got your third person.
I got my third one. So a lot of people, I found this interesting. I actually found out about her some years ago, but a lot of people don't know about her, and her name is Claudette Colvin. Do you know about her? Have you heard about her?
When I hear the name Claudette, I think of City High. What would you do if your son was at home? Crying alone in the bedroom, hungry.
Silly.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So Claudette Colvin is at the time she was a 15-year-old girl who refused to get out of her seat on the bus before Rosa Parks. She was arrested for it and everything, but people only talk about Rosa Parks. They kind of kept her arrest under wraps. I don't know if it was because she was a minor, but they kept her stuff under wraps. And I think it said it was a few years before Rosa Parks.
I like
so let me just read this. Let me read this. Let me read this.
You read this?
Claudette Colvin is an American pioneer of the 1950s civil rights movement and retired nurse aide. On March 2nd, 1955, she was arrested at the age of 15 in Montgomery, Alabama, for refusing to give up her seat to a white woman on a crowded, segregated bus. This occurred, so it wasn't years. This occurred 9 months before the more widely known incident in which Rosa Parks, secretary of the local chapter of the national NAACP, helped spark the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott.
Wow.
So Claudette was even included in the lawsuit that was out. It was Browder versus Gale.
Mm-hmm.
She was included in that lawsuit. Her testimony and everything was, but it still wasn't widely talked about that she actually was arrested before Rosa Parks. So Rosa Parks gets all of the credit. Too. Yeah. Rosa Parks gets all of the credit for the bus boycott and
she's a G.
Yeah.
She's a G for real. Like, yo, you 15?
15 years old.
Shout out
She
to
refused to give up her seat.
Claudette. What's her last name?
Claudette Colvin.
Claudette Colvin. Shout out to Claudette Colvin, man. You.
She has a statement in here. It says, young people think Rosa Parks just sat down on a bus and ended segregation, but that wasn't the case at all. That's crazy. When I found out about that, I was like, we've been deceived. Because they really pump it that Rosa Parks is the one that ended it. And it wasn't. It was actually not even just Claudette Colvin. It was quite a few other people who had been arrested for not giving up their seats to a white person on the buses.
All I can think of is Cedric the Entertainer on Barbershop. All Rosa Parks did was sit up, black down. That's all I can hear. So it says, this is why the establishment has and is fighting against what is being called critical race theory, which is truth is not teaching whites to hate themselves, but to teach the true history of America. And that history African Americans will learn of the great accomplishments of everyday black folk.
Yeah.
They control the history you learn. That is very profound.
That is true.
That is very true.
With him saying that, it goes back to, it makes me think, when you learn about slavery, all they talk about with slavery is how black people were dumb and stupid and knew nothing. No, we didn't know your English language. You know what I'm saying? We were back there, but our ancestors didn't know your English language.
Right.
We knew our own language.
Right.
We didn't know how to read your English language.
Culture.
Right. So you tell us that because we don't understand your stuff and you don't understand our stuff, that we're dumb. Not the case at all.
No.
And so I have seen posts now quite a few times over the past few years that said they did not steal slave. I forget how it goes, but pretty much was saying they didn't just take dumb, illiterate people. They took doctors and lawyers, and engineers and farmers and everything like that. So it's taught to us that our culture was dumb and stupid when no. But then the more you learn, if it's outside of the norm and the majority can't understand it, it's not right. You're dumb. You're wrong. You're stupid.
And see what, like you said, with critical race theory, I've talked about this with on another podcast. I'm gonna shout out to Speak on it. But it's pretty much unlearning the lies or the half truths.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in the school system that we have, like you have a set of standard books that you have that you go by. And there's so many books outside of those books that, like, I mean, us going through school, you're just trying to do the schoolwork and get the best grades that you can get to go on and move on.
Right.
And then once you start opening your mind and start reading books that are outside of the curriculum or whatnot, or if you just want to learn more, like it's like, yo, we didn't just start with slavery.
No.
Like that's not the case. And then the more you kind of free your mind and go back, it's like, oh, there's a rich history behind all of that. So, and
because if we built this country, you had to have had some type of education and knowledge to even be able to put nail to hammer.
Until the land and all
hammer
that.
Nail.
You sure you got the knowledge?
Listen,
that's what
I do, but
I know you do.
Short-term memory.
No, I know. So, my final person is one of my favorite athletes, even though I wasn't alive. And no, it's not Carmelo Anthony. Shout out to Melo though for being in the top 75. Definitely solidifies him in the Hall of Fame. So I don't want to hear none of that he's not. But that's neither here nor there. We're not on Melo. So hearing his story when I was younger always inspired me. He was brash and outspoken, but he stood for something. And that was Muhammad Ali, the great Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay.
I'm calling Cassius. I'm call
listen, that man is Muhammad Ali. So he was born Cassius Clay in 1942 in Louisville, Kentucky. Excuse me. Now, doing this, I actually learned some things about Ali that I didn't know. And I thought I knew a lot about Ali. Like the movie Ali is one of my favorite movies, all of that. But He's a pro boxer, activist, entertainer, poet.
I didn't know that. And you know it.
But he got he has bars like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, rumble, young man rumble. But there's so many things that like, yeah. So he's a poet and a philanthropist. He nicknamed himself the greatest. He won a gold medal in the 1960 Olympics. He won his first heavyweight title in 1964 at the age of 22 by beating Sonny Liston, which I think he was an underdog in that fight.
Who was the underdog?
Muhammad Ali.
Gotcha.
Well, Cassius at that time. But he shook up the world. And what he's most known for was being an activist by refusing to participate in the Vietnam War due to his religious and ethical beliefs. Now, during that time in the civil rights, you had Martin Luther King, you had Malcolm X, and they were rebels against the system. Well, Martin more so at the end of his life was more so a rebel against the system, but more so with Malcolm. So when you have this great heavyweight champion who's participated in the Olympics, won a gold medal for you and whatnot, and now he's aligning with Malcolm X, who has his stand as far as what he feels is right and what he feels is wrong. I think that they felt like it was a slap in the face. And then for him to be the heavyweight champion and then to get drafted into the war, yeah, and then not only that, like the fact of he changed his name to Muhammad Ali, and they still called him Cassius Clay when they drafted him. It was like the amount of disrespect that like this man has done a lot for your country, has done a lot for businesses, entertainment wise and whatnot. And we all know that with the draft and whatnot, like you didn't have to go draft him. Like he's like it's like celebrities are excluded. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, but then like for him to fight for what he fought for as far as what was right, as far as saying like, yo, you don't treat me well in this country. Why am I going to go fight for you and go kill other people, and you won't even stand up for me here? Like I got to fight for my rights here,
right?
Not just because, like, yeah, I'm the heavyweight champion of the world, but I'm still a black man in America in the 60s that's got to go through so many things. And yeah, I get some privilege a little bit because I'm this heavyweight champion, but everybody's not the heavyweight champion of the world. So for him, to me, that spoke a lot and spoke volumes just in that era as well, as far as civil rights. So we gotta don't believe that narrative. During Reconstruction, directly after slavery, former slaves became mayors. Shared. That's a fact. That is definitely a fact. And many times were more intelligent than their non-black counterparts. Yes, I mean, you hear about Black Wall Street, but there were so many other Black Wall Streets that were happening across the country. One that got bombed in Philadelphia as well, where they had a thriving Black community. So it's definitely some things that we need to look into as far as that, because it's always seemed like it's one side of the story, and there needs to be all of the story that's told, because it's a lot of things that are blacked out. No pun intended. But it's a lot of things that are withheld from us as far as that.
There's power in that knowledge.
It is, because it makes you think more so, like I said before, like we didn't just start with slavery, and even after slavery, like it wasn't like we was just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, no, we built communities and whatnot, and they got destroyed.
That just shows you how resilient we were too.
It's a fact. That is
everything that got destroyed.
Very resilient.
Rebuild again.
Very resilient people. So Muhammad Ali became a high-profile figure of racial pride for African Americans during the Civil Rights Movement. He released 2 albums as a spoken word artist,
Did he?
receiving Grammy nominations. That's what I said. Yo, Muhammad Ali had bars. Like
Did not know that.
he's in the category of my man Archie. Like shout out to Archie the Messenger, ATM.
Yo, I did not know that.
Yeah, called I Am the Greatest. The next was The Adventures of Ali and His Gang versus Mr. Tooth Decay. Listen, I was just told earlier, don't be judging titles.
Right.
So I'm not judging the titles.
Tell me that again.
I Am the Greatest and The Adventures of Ali and His Gang versus Mr. Tooth Decay.
Like, was it for kids?
I don't
need to
know.
look that up.
But like hearing
That's
the lines that he would have
Mm-hmm.
before, like to promote the matches and whatnot, like you could tell like he had bars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like he was rapping before hip hop. To be quite honest, so shout out to the pioneer MC Muhammad Ali. Shout out to the Ali family. And he was also an artist, like with the drawings, paintings.
Oh, wow.
26 of his drawings were arts. You be on me. 26 of his drawings are arts that were sold in October of 2021 for close to $1 million.
Wow.
So he was a Renaissance man, all in all. He lived a full life.
Yeah.
During this, I didn't know that he had albums. That was enlightening. And it just made me think like he did a lot in his time. Like he stood up for us as a people. At his time, he was like the youngest heavyweight champion of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Then he rebelled against the system. Like right after he got the belt, he changed his name to Muhammad Ali and became a member of the Nation of Islam. Mm-hmm. He was best friends with Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke. I was about to say
Lenny. Yeah, I was about to say Lenny Cooke. Lenny Cooke used to hoop. Sam Cooke and Jim Brown.
He was a football player, right?
Yep. One of the greatest running backs ever to play.
I'm thinking about the movie.
Yeah, the night in Miami. That was a great movie, and it's like these four guys that are at the top of the entertainment world, you know what I mean, still had to go through what any and every black man had to go through in America at that time, regardless of their status. I mean, you had the heavyweight champion of the world, you got a recording artist, you got a all-pro running back, and you have this great orator that is speaking against any and everything as far as what America stands for. And all of these guys are friends with different beliefs, different constructs of what is going on, but they came together and like just enjoyed each other and build and whatnot. So it's definitely. So I mean, Muhammad Ali's got some beautiful family. Layla Ali retired undefeated as a boxer. I think there's another Ali that's coming up. He's like a great grandson or something like that.
Coming up in boxing.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he left a legacy for his family, and I'm pretty sure, like, other than Layla, like the other kids are doing whatnot. It's just that Layla was in the spotlight more so than anybody. Mm-hmm. But for him to have albums that were Grammy nominated,
you still stuck on that?
Yeah, like that one got to me. It was like he really was rapping before rap. That's the one that gets me. So. Shout out to one of the greatest boxers that ever lived, ever boxed, and one of the greatest activists of his time. He took a huge stand, man. Like he gave up like 3.5, 4 years of his career in his prime.
Because he was in jail, right? No, that's not when he was.
But they were threatening. So like. He was like doing different appeals and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And during this time, he couldn't box. So he had to relinquish the title. He's losing this money, but he was doing this fight. And then he finally got got justice, and then went on to win the title. Then he lost it, and then won it again, and fought until like I think like 79 or 80, something like that.
Oh, I thought you meant years in life.
No, 1979,
I
1980.
said, no, I don't think that's right.
But I do want to hear the adventures of Ali and his gang versus Mr. Tooth Decay. That's something I'm definitely going to search up.
That's funny. That is funny to me. I want to hear it. I don't got no more people.
Yeah, I don't
You
either.
told me to do 3.
Okay. And we did 3.
We did.
So that was informative. Found out we had Rosa Parks before Rosa Parks.
I just want to encourage people to Google is in the palm of our hands now. Go and literally Google Black people I should know that's not famous. I think I put in something as simple as that though and found these people, and I found a lot of people, and I was like, wow, why are we still pushed the same like 5 6 people year after year after year, generation after generation after generation? So it's just dope to do the research and find these interesting people that don't get the accolade the acknowledgement that they deserve for what they've done. And not all of them are dead. Like some people, there's some amazing people coming up that are still doing amazing things that are not talked about. So
yeah, I like Miss Valerie Thomas is still living. And that would be somebody that I would love for my daughters to see and to meet, because I know that's just an inspiration. Not saying that they're going to be into science or inventing anything like that, but just seeing someone that during that time pretty much broke barriers. Like she was one of 2 women that studied physics. Like these people were fearless, if you think about it at the end of the day. I mean, from the judge following her dad's footsteps to 15 years old saying, I ain't getting up, to Wilma Rudolph recovering from, I said wrong?
No, I was listening.
Recovering from polio at 4 years old to become an Olympic champion. Like, yo, that, like you said, resiliency at the end of the day. So, says, if I asked you who invented the light bulb, what would your answer be? So
Google told me it was a Black person.
I was about to say,
would be my answer.
with you asking me that question, it has to be someone of color.
I remember Siani.
But you would,
doesn't Siani know that name? I think she told
let's
us.
see. Siani.
I think she remembers that. I think that might have been someone that she just found out about.
They might have an appearance.
Give us a second.
Can you come here, please? We need our fact checkers. Our fact checkers are our kids. So
especially when it comes to math. Come here real quick.
You ain't gotta be on screen.
She wants to.
Oh, she wants to be. Say hi.
You can say hi.
So, who invented the light bulb?
A Black person.
Yeah, we know that. What's her name? We thought you would know
Was it
her
a man
name.
or a woman?
Man.
It was a man.
You remember his name?
Create the inside of the light bulb, and a white person.
I don't know if they can hear you. Come back.
So a Black person created the inside of the light bulb and didn't get any credit for it because a white person ended up creating the outside of it and thought he created the whole entire light bulb.
All right. But you can't remember his name.
Nope.
But
See,
you know
I
that.
wish she would know
right.
something. So let's Google.
My mom said, "Hey, Tank." Okay, you can go back. Thank you. So she knows the gist, just don't remember the name.
So I'm about to Google it.
I'm not good with names either, so I know a face, but names is hard. He said, "I love her."
You hear how she speak though? Like she wasn't for sure of the name, but just her speaking was such. Oh, I love it.
And what's flipping crazy is like, yo, I be trying to have them like learn this stuff, and I gotta learn it. My dad goes something. Like when she was saying it was coming back to me. Like, yeah, was it the filament? And
Bruh.
Lord. Said Thomas Edison invented the bulb, but it was only worked for a couple hours. Hmm.
But she said the black person invented something inside of
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was
So that's
saying.
what
I
I'm
don't
trying
know
to look up.
what the I don't know what it's called. Mm. Mm.
I'm trying.
But
Fingers ain't
that's
working.
with the way technology is though,
Mhm.
we can just once you
You
find them.
good? You can go and talk.
But the way technology is, we've made it like a point that we know that kids, when it comes to books, sometimes they don't want to read. We try to make ours read just a little bit to get some time off of YouTube and all of that. But I mean, finding these things out, it just makes them more proud of themselves.
I can't find it.
Okay. It makes them more proud of themselves because growing up in this culture and whatnot, it's hard to have a identity. And looking back at history and whatnot, you can be taught so many things in school, but as parents, we got to do a job as far as teaching them who they are, who's paved the way, and let them know that there's people that's been in their shoes. I mean, I know one of the persons that Siani looks up to is Ruby Bridges. That's like her girl, and because she's seen the strength that she had as a little girl to go through what she went through.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis Latimer invented the carbon filament. There it is. I was right. That allowed the wait a minute now. That's a big word. Incandescent. Okay, I had to sound it out. Don't do that. Bulb to go into production. He also invented air conditioning. Oh, thank you, Lewis Latimer. Because
I'm gonna make sure I tell her his name. She's probably like, I knew it. I know her.
so
See?
shout out to him because he having
we've
some
only,
rough
we've only
nights.
been taught about Thomas Edison.
That's a fact. That's the first name that I thought of, and I was like, no.
I didn't think of it. I just knew I didn't. It wasn't. I didn't think of that name. I didn't even lie to you. I've been out of school too long.
So all in all, this episode, of course, we have Black History Month, so we can go along with Black History Month. However, Black History is every month.
That's our life.
Yeah, it's what you say?
I said that's our life.
Yeah.
Like, we're constantly
Wanting
trying to
to
teach and
learn. Yeah.
especially with our kids.
Because I mean, just us growing up as young Black kids and whatnot, and being in this majority Caucasian country, you know what I mean? Sometimes it can get to the point to where it's like, what, like, why is it that this is this and this and that? And it's like everything, like the hidden facts. It just makes you feel less of yourself almost because you see so many things that were invented by people that don't look like you, and you're like, well, what did we do besides slavery?
Yeah.
And the more you find out, I keep thinking of the Reading Rainbow, the more you know. but
it is like that though, because that goes into a lot of things that you do today. You
Black history surrounds us every day in this country we built. That is a huge fact. A huge fact.
How often though, like even in today's society, do people come up with things, do things, even with kids in the classroom? A lot of times Black kids don't get the full credit for the work that they put in, the work that they do. And that's been our entire history. So that's why I try so hard to just feed my kids the confidence that they need and reassure them like one thing I feel good about myself when I do, when the kids do something and they show this and they're excited about something, I ask them how do they feel about themselves. Right. Because I'll ask Nehemiah, are you proud of yourself? I am proud. Right. Just so they can know, like, you don't have to do this for me. Do this for you. And claim your credit for it. Exactly. This is what you did. Say that you did that. And be proud.
Because all Rosa Parks did was sit her.
Stupid.
All right. So
we had an hour.
We are an hour. We could talk for hours about Black history, but we're not. Okay.
And hours. You can do this for hours.
Anyway, so every month is Black History Month, in my opinion. I think that there's some things that need to be told about the truth of this country, all in all. And to be honest, it's not just for the empowerment of Black people, because I mean, it will empower us to understand our history, but to really make light of everything. I mean, it's not just a one-sided story, and it's been told that way for so long. And our non-Black counterparts need to know these things as well, because they've been in the dark too.
And I will say, from what I'm seeing, a lot of this generation, the millennials and everything, like they're open to learning and wanting to know and calling it out. I'm starting to see a lot more white people call it out. Like, yo, that's no, that ain't right.
That daggone TikTok.
And wanting to change your ways.
Yo,
this ain't right. Okay.
This sounds banging.
Thank you.
So
I was going to ask you if you're going to finish yours because mine is gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish mine. This is delicious. It's just really.
You don't usually eat the salad.
What you mean?
Clean up all my ingredients.
What do you mean?
I had to share it. You don't be eating the salad.
I fasted from meat. What are you talking about? I do eat.
Do you
salads.
make your own salad? Exactly.
She would chop it up for me and whatnot.
Well, last time you asked me to make your salad.
I don't know.
Exactly. So you eat up my ingredients. I want it back.
Really?
You share.
You have.
Mine's gone.
Proud of y'all for doing this. The true history will empower us and enlighten others to know they've been fed lies as well.
Thank you. We just
honestly, talking.
This is discussions that happens in our house on a regular basis.
It really is. So y'all just sitting at the dinner table. Really.
Hence our show. Seriously, this is literally the discussions that go on in our house. And I'm quite proud of it because our kids actually sit in on these discussions as well. They're not sitting in on it now because Nehemiah don't know when to chill. But these are the types of conversations and things. Even he knows some of it. We go over things with him and he's 5. So this is just this is what we're trying to set for our kids so that they know and they'll hopefully carry on the tradition to have these types of conversations and just life discussions with their families.
Definitely. So
I've been trying to come up with something to sign off on for the show. I don't know. I had something in my mind and then I got in front of the camera and I was like, So I'm gonna have to write it down. I'll come back to y'all in 2 weeks with it. But it was just something to play on the name of our show. Just make sure sometime this week you sit down and have a seat at the dinner table and discuss things with your family.
Oh,
that's too long.
I like it.
But it's long.
It's just a closing statement. Catchy. They don't need to be catchy.
Mm-hmm. Well,
we set the trends. Sorry. Yes.
All right, so make sure y'all join us in 2 weeks. Have a sit down with us at a seat at our. Oh no, I'm trying to come up with something. We love y'all. Good night. I'll try again in 2 weeks. Stop.
Y'all have a good night and check us out in 2 weeks where we'll be back for our Entrepreneur Spotlight. Tune in for our special guest in March. So until then,
good night.
Good night. God bless.
Shuck-a-ducky quack quack. Sorry.
Oh man, you are funny.